Welcome to WION. You're watching Inside South Asia with me, Neha Khanna. It's a show that takes an in-depth look at the week's biggest news stories from South Asia and how they impact your life. Here's a quick look at what's coming up. Our big focus on the show today. Pakistan is on the brink of bankruptcy. Foreign exchange reserves at an all-time low. Barely any money left for imports. An unprecedented energy and food crisis. Experts warn that Pakistan could very well go the Sri Lanka way. The country is desperate for that elusive IMF bailout package. The IMF says no deal till all our conditions are met. But despite the dire situation, instead of spending its limited financial resources on public welfare and infrastructure development, the country has been increasing its defense budget year after year. It was $5 billion last year. Therefore, we ask, has Pakistan got its priorities all wrong?
The writing is on the wall for Pakistan, and it's a choice between the devil and the deep blue sea. The first round of talks with visiting IMF officials, 10 days that ended on the 9th of February, had fallen through. The $1.1 billion aid tranche not cleared as conditions that Pakistan sees as difficult were not met, as its leaders look to keep up a brave face.
God willing, we will try to complete the IMF program for the second time in Pakistan's history with the same spirit. We have completed this process keeping in view the sovereign commitment.
First, face up to Pakistan's ground realities. Essential commodities, wheat, milk, eggs have gone through the roof, even when they are available. Wheat costs 1.5 times what it did in January last year. Onions cost 4 times what they did a year back. At many petrol pumps, even in big cities, fuel has dried up. For the middle and lower middle classes, daily life is an uphill challenge. Now contrast the state of affairs to the IMF's conditions for a desperately needed loan. The first reform proposal is to mobilize revenue by raising tax to GDP ratio and ensuring tax collection targets are met. The second proposal is to bring untargeted subsidies in the gas and power sectors to zero. That implies that the government charges consumers the cost that it incurs to produce and deliver power and gas. Next, definitive moves to control mounting circular debt. This as against past stands on controlling debt itself, and clear measures to meet the primary budget deficit target.
Pakistan is pretty desperate for this because we don't really have any other option. Our neighbor, or I would say the friendly countries that often used to bail us out, they are not bailing us out anymore. And they are saying that, you know what, get some approval, get some consent from the IMF before we can give you some money. So this is what's happening. That's why Pakistan is desperate. If the program does not go through, then we may see a situation which is like Sri Lanka emerging over the next, I would say, 6 to 8 months.
Pakistan is for gradual progress on the conditions. IMF wants these measures in place up front. Elections just months away means political necessities stand firmly in the way.
As Pakistan battles one of its worst economic crises, the country is signaling to the IMF that it is adhering to the IMF demands at all costs, because this is the only lifeline that can sustain the economy and avoid the country from going towards an all-out default.
But is it really only about political exigencies? Realities are not far. Fact is, the crisis in Pakistan smacks of inherently weak economic fundamentals and priorities gone massively wrong. Pakistan's budget for 2022-23 prioritizes not public welfare moves, but defense and arms. Defense expenses put at 1,524 billion Pakistan rupees or $5 billion is 11% over last year, the second biggest component of annual expenditure after debt payments. Pakistan has decided to send military aid to Ukraine too.
That is right. There needs to be a realignment of priorities. There needs to be more spending on infrastructure. There needs to be more spending on export-oriented industries and so on. So, yeah, as I said, this is a structural issue that needs to be fixed. Without fixing this structural issue, we can't really move forward. And we don't really need more aid, but we need to position ourselves for more trade rather than just keep on getting more aid.
After one round of failing to convince the IMF, a sinking Pakistan clings to straws. Will the IMF soften on Pakistan, allow the desperately needed help its people need? But perhaps more importantly, will lessons ever be learnt? Will priorities ever change? When will people, not guns, ever come first?
It is India's biggest ever air show, a showcase of the country's growth in aerospace and defence capabilities, marked by spectacular aerial displays and grand exhibitions by 800 companies from almost 100 countries. Centred around the vision, Make in India, Make for the World, Aero India 2023 was inaugurated by Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Bengaluru. His message, the new India of the 21st century will neither miss any opportunity nor leave any stone unturned. We are gearing up. Take a look.
Asia's largest air show, Aero India, is back in a bigger and better avatar in the city of Bengaluru. The grandeur of this defense aerospace show is up several notches and the participation truly impressive. 800 defense firms from 100 countries, an exhibition area of more than 35,000 square meters. Dozens of state-of-the-art aircraft on display, a spectacular aerial performance and much more. At the heart of it all is one clear message for the world. This is India's moment in the sun. Inaugurating the showpiece event that showcases India's growing capabilities in the defense and aerospace sector was Prime Minister Narendra Modi.
कि आज दुनिया की डिफेंस कंपनियों के लिए भारत केवल एक मार्केट ही नहीं है, भारत आज एक पोटेंशियल डिफेंस पार्टनर भी है। जो देश दशकों से सबसे बड़ा डिफेंस इंपोर्टर था, वो अब दुनिया के 75 देशों को डिफेंस इक्विपमेंट एक्सपोर्ट कर रहा है।
Among some of the shining examples of India's indigenous aerospace capabilities on display at Aero India are Tejas, the light combat aircraft, Dhruv, the advanced light helicopter, Prachand, the light combat helicopter, and the latest light utility helicopter. And live streaming the glitzy event was Tapas, the newest indigenously developed drone, a high-altitude unmanned aerial vehicle built by Indian government agencies. Tapas will soon be inducted into India's armed forces.
Some of the key themes being discussed at Aero India are joint development, collaboration, making in India, and of course exporting made in India defense hardware and defense platforms. So there's in line with this, there is a meet where Defense Minister Rajnath Singh will be hosting defense ministers from 30 friendly foreign nations, and they'll be discussing the prospects of joint development of defense hardware and platforms, and also the sale of Indian made defense platforms to foreign nations. So you're looking right at an example of what a made in India defense platform is. This is the ALH Mark III, or Advanced Light Helicopter Mark III variant. This is in use by the Indian Navy, the Coast Guard, and of course an armed variant is also used by the Indian Air Force.
Make in India has been the mantra behind many of the Modi government's initiatives. At Aero India, the Prime Minister added an important dimension to it. Make in India, make for the world. While India still buys significant amounts of military hardware from abroad, the government has extended an invitation to foreign firms to establish high-tech factories in India and manufacture here. This gives the companies access to Indian engineering talent and the Indian defense market, while giving a flip to India's defense ecosystem and generating employment. A win-win for all.
We've been listening to the Make in India policy and we have evaluated our strategy for some years. And last year we decided to form our own company here. So in September we announced that we will start production of the latest version of Carl Gustaf M4 in India. Intention is that we would like to have 100% Saab owned, company because we are very keen on the IPR for us. And we are sure that this will be a success for the Indian Armed Forces.
International firms are being encouraged to set up in India maintenance, repair and overall facilities for their hardware in the process. They source components made in India, thereby helping the growth of the Indian industry as well.
Another great story I think that Boeing has, just to talk about the supply chain and the sourcing that we do. So we work directly with over 300 suppliers here in India already from both the defense and the commercial side. And of that, we source about $1 billion worth of opportunity from those suppliers. So, we continue to build that supply chain to support, both the commercial and defense efforts.
A major highlight of Aero India 2023 has been the United States, exhibiting the world's most advanced fifth-generation fighter jet, the F-35. Built by US aerospace giant Lockheed Martin, the F-35 is stealthy, it's supersonic, and it's a real head-turner. Not to mention the most expensive fighter jet in the world. With over 250 deals worth 75,000 crore rupees expected to be sealed during the 5-day event, Aero India 2023 is living up to its promise. It's truly the runway to 1 billion opportunities.
This is a heartwarming story of some remarkable comebacks. The film Pathaan, starring megastar Shah Rukh Khan, is not only setting the box office on fire globally, it has also marked the return of cinema to Kashmir after 32 long years. The film is running to packed houses and film lovers cannot stop gushing over it. Remember, film theatres were banned in Kashmir for over 3 decades as life and the landscape in the valley were pockmarked by terrorism. But all that has now changed. As for Pathaan, it is the highest grossing Hindi film of all time. It's undoubtedly a dream comeback for Shah Rukh Khan, Bollywood and Kashmir.
Sleek and swanky, the world's biggest ever grosser a fortnight into its release. And the first to make $100 million without a release in China. Big milestones and big landmarks to revel in. Explain the magic in 3 words. Come back, and come back. Watch the movie, then step back and think. Comebacks are what Pathaan turned out to be actually about. And at multiple levels. Level 1, the return of Shah Rukh Khan. Some say his star power had faded a bit and he banked heavily on this one. The pre-release controversy against a star seen as anti-government added another layer to that. Level 2, a sigh of relief for Bollywood after the likes of southern Indian productions RRR and KGF that said Hindi filmmaking in India was past its expiry date. Pandemic disruptions, the nepotism over talent debate and boycotts had hit Bollywood hard. Pathaan came as a breath of fresh air. And level 3, perhaps the biggest of them all, the return of cinema to Kashmir after 32 years and more. Pathaan showed house full for the first fortnight at Srinagar city's only multiplex. That's a long way from Kashmir's cinema halls shut out of terror fears since 1991, underscoring that not security, entertainment and mass appeal hold the key.
25th of Jan movie.
The movie released on 25th January and we had not expected this much rush. It's after a gap of 32 years that a cinema opened in the Kashmir Valley. And to watch Shah Rukh Khan on silver screen, we have seen a huge number of people coming to watch the movie, which we had not expected. And I'm sure it will further grow. It's not only in Srinagar but from various districts of Kashmir region who are coming from far-off areas to watch the movie on big screen.
To think many in this queue didn't know what the magic of a cinema hall was. That's what Pathaan brought alive.
I cannot explain it in words. It's such a feeling. Last time I went to Jammu to see Shah Rukh Khan's cameo in the Brahmastra movie. as there was no theatre in the valley. But now we have a theatre here and it's great. We do deserve to have means of entertainment.
I am super excited to have come to the theatre in Srinagar to watch Shah Rukh Khan's Pathaan. I'm very eager. I've seen movies in cinema halls outside Kashmir as I study there. But I'm so happy to come here with my friends in Kashmir.
It's after 30 long years the cinematic drought of Kashmir Valley has ended. With the release of Shah Rukh Khan, star of Pathaan, the lone theatre in Srinagar is running houseful shows. In the last 2 weeks, thousands of Kashmiris have watched the film and the numbers hardly seem to come down.
All of us, again, are extremely grateful.
In terms of box office successes, there's no questioning that Pathaan is as good as it gets.
And this is what makes cinema.
Don't miss out on the bigger significance and timing either. Comeback hour for SRK and Bollywood and Kashmir. And hopefully a turning point too. That's Pathaan.
Now let's turn our attention to Sri Lanka. Elephants carry a symbolic cultural and economic significance for the island nation. Tourists visiting national parks like to observe elephants in the wild. The tuskers also support logging operations by dragging felled logs, and they have special significance at religious events too. Now, in a move to safeguard the elephant population, Sri Lanka has decided to ban single-use plastic. This comes in the backdrop of a rash of deaths of wild elephants and deer caused by plastic poisoning. The Sri Lankan government has announced that the manufacture or sale of plastic cutlery, cocktail shakers and artificial flowers will be prohibited starting June this year. The recommendation came from a committee of experts which studied the impact of plastic waste on the environment and wildlife. This isn't entirely new though. Non-biodegradable plastic bags were banned in Sri Lanka back in 2017. Due to concerns over flash floods, imports of plastic cutlery, food wrappers and toys were banned 2 years ago. Elephants are considered sacred and protected by law in Sri Lanka. Despite that, tragically, about 400 pachyderms die every year. Human-elephant conflict near wildlife reserves and a shrinking habitat have meant jumbos raid villages looking for food, and many suffer agonizing deaths after foraging for food at garbage dumps filled with plastic waste. And finally, the 95th Academy Awards will be held on the 12th of March, and almost a month ahead of Hollywood's biggest night, all the nominees gathered for the annual luncheon in Los Angeles. It's a big year for India at the Oscars. In attendance at the star-studded luncheon were Cream, Guneet Monga and Shaunak Sen.
Keeravani, original song Natu Natu.
The popular song Natu Natu, composed by Cream, has been making waves globally and recently won a Golden Globe Award. It has also been nominated by the Academy jury for Best Original Song. Producer Guneet Monga and director Kartiki Gonzalez's The Elephant Whisperers has been nominated for Best Documentary Short. Shaunak Sen's All That Breathes has been nominated for Best Documentary Feature Film. Also pictured among a bevy of Hollywood A-listers was Malala Yousafzai, the Pakistani activist and youngest ever Nobel laureate. Malala, who is the executive producer of Stranger at the Gate, a short documentary, was spotted with Top Gun Maverick actor Tom Cruise. Describing her encounter with the superstar, Malala said, "It's surreal. I've seen Tom Cruise on the screen and now I'm seeing him in person."
I had to pinch myself. It was unreal. And it's crazy. I don't know how to express my feelings right now, but you realize it's just that one announcement and then you are here like at Oscars. So I was like, that's a huge job now. Like, we have so much more work to do, so many exciting things to do, so many people to meet. So it was like the beginning of a new journey.
Meeting Tom Cruise for the first time would be a surreal experience for anyone. Well, that brings us to the end of this edition of Inside South Asia. Hope you enjoyed the show. Do join us again next week as we return with all the action from the region. Till then, stay safe and well. I'm Neha Khanna signing off. Thanks for watching and stay tuned to WION. World is One.